Hello, and welcome to 10-7 Off-Duty Podcast. My name is Andrew Straley, EMTP. With me is a giant child, Clyde.
I have chocolate milk, and it makes me really happy.
He's got chocolate milk and Mountain Dew, and he ate a fucking
Not-
Oreo cookie.
No, it was an Oreo cookie candy bar. Thank you.
All right, well.
And just so nobody thinks I've mixed them. No, I did not mix my Mountain Dew and chocolate milk. I have two separate containers.
But it's going to mix in your stomach one way or another.
I don't give a fuck because I get to enjoy the taste of them separately.
Yeah. To Clyde's wife, I am so sorry, because he's going to be geeked up by the time he gets home.
She has had to deal with so much worse. She's had to deal with drunk me.
Oh. I would love to see drunk you at some point.
Nobody deserves that fate.
I mean, I could probably put some shackles in the basement for if you got too far gone. We could just
You're gonna need it.
chain you down.
You'd probably need it. I thought of something we could talk about in this show because we were running out of things to talk about.
We're not really running out of things to talk about. My brain just hurts.
Fair enough. We've both had a really, really, really long week.
Long couple of weeks, to be honest.
Yeah. I was actually gonna revise what I just said. Drew is rebuilding a transmission, which you've never done before, correct?
I've never done that. I would much prefer to build another 331 stroker for my Mustang than I would to go through another transmission.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
And
Motors make sense. Transmissions work on pressure and weird things and magic and unicorns.
they're magic.
It sucks.
Myself, I've just been working as much overtime as I can get my hands on because you know what? Right after the holiday season, I know everyone could probably agree with this. Money is not tight before the holidays. Money is really tight right after the holidays.
Plus, me and Clyde had a conversation after last week's episode where he's going to be my new sugar daddy. So it's going to be nice.
It's true. So,
yeah.
Hey,
I only
Tasha,
offer oral favors. Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, Tasha, you're just learning about this. Sorry.
It's okay. She knew it was inevitable. Yes, like he said, I've been working on a transmission, and I spent a good 4 hours last night and up until Clyde got here today trying to find a C-clip in my garage somewhere because I misread the instructions and didn't realize until it was too late that there are 20 springs under a little cup with a C-clip holding it all together. And when I finally got that thing out, it went into the fucking stratosphere somewhere. It's probably orbiting Earth. I still have yet to find it. I'm surprised it wasn't stuck in the ceiling of the garage, to be honest. Because that thing came out with some fucking vengeance.
This is the second time I've heard this story, and it still makes me laugh because I'm visualizing it.
Dude, I'm really surprised I didn't lose an eye. I'm usually really good when I work on projects about wearing safety glasses.
He's really good about wearing his proper PPE.
Yes. And I actually do have quite a bit of gloves left over from my last service because nobody likes to get brake cleaner on their hands. But the safety glasses that I have apparently got too much brake cleaner on them, and now they're just a haze. So I was like, fuck it. It's going to be fine. Nope. That thing let loose.
I'll hook you up. I wear prescription glasses, dude. So whenever my job gives me safety glasses,
Yeah.
they just get thrown in my car,
Right.
In my truck.
Yeah.
I can't wear these. Sorry, guys. They don't fit over my street glass. I have to wear prescription safety glasses.
Do your safety glasses have the side shields on them?
Oh yeah, it's just standard safety glasses.
No. I mean for your regular ones. Do they have the side shields and shit?
Yes. Oh,
Your prescription ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I figured.
they're built just like a regular pair of safety glasses. They just happen to have my prescription in
Yeah,
them.
my dad wears glasses and he builds
He
fire
works in a
hydrants.
rival foundry.
Yeah. Well, not really rival because you guys are making, rail stuff and he's making fire hydrants, so
We're two foundries in one small town.
it's all right. Whatever. More jobs better.
We do not even, like he said, we don't even make the same shit.
Right.
And it's not much of a rivalry because we've got one building, and our one building is about half the size of one of the rival company's buildings.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got two buildings. They've got one that's the foundry, and then they've got one that's the assembly area, where they actually
I always
make
kind of
everything.
wondered what the difference was between
Yep.
the two of them.
The one on the east side of town is the foundry. You can tell because it's always noisier.
Yes, because
And
it's
actually
like 30 blocks from where I work.
My dad started out in the foundry years and years and years ago, and I've gone on tours there. That place is kind of sketchy, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Believe me, I've worked in places like that where you're just kind of looking around and you're like, and what are your safety concerns again?
My dad has told me stories about people dying in the foundry over there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I've got no doubt about that one, man.
I can't imagine, like, honestly, I can't imagine working in a foundry in the 80s. Nowadays, maybe not so bad, but...
Honestly, you know what really, really sends shivers up my spine now that I've worked in these kind of jobs that I didn't think about much just even 3-4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Seeing pictures from the 20s when people had, like, regular rope tied around their waist, 200 stories up in the air, putting in glass. I'm like, a couple of years back, I'm like, oh, okay, that's just how it was. Nowadays, I'm like, what the fuck are they thinking?
Oh, and even the pictures of when they were building the damn Empire State Building. And those iron workers that were,
just shimming up the poles.
600 foot in the air with no tie-off whatsoever.
Exactly.
And just, putting in rivets by hand.
You're going to have the time. You're going to have the time to say an entire prayer before you hit the ground.
I'm
and I mean a long one.
Yeah. Your life's going to flash before your eyes, and you're going to get the end credits at the end, too. It's not going to be the TV edit version. You're going to see everything. Fuck. Yeah, I've had some sketchy... I have friends that have old vehicles, and anybody that knows me as a person, I will bend over backwards to work on somebody else's vehicle at my house. Because I have a heated garage. Not many other people have that. So, especially wintertime, when it's cold out and somebody has a breakdown, I'm like, all right, look, I will save you money on a repair bill, but it's your ass has got to get it out to me. And I've worked on John's cars before and stuff like that. And I had a buddy, and I told you this story too after I told you about the spring clip going into heaven. One of my buddies had his girlfriend over, and we were fixing U-joints on his Jeep. And the front end has U-joints on it. The back end has U-joints on it. And they had never been changed, and it was an 88. So it's 30 years old. Yeah. It's as old as I am, and I'm probably sure it feels just about as pain as I do.
Everything's just kind of creaking and popping.
Yeah, my back hurts, my legs hurt. I went running for the first time in forever a few days ago.
Sounded like a bag of Jiffy Pop.
My legs still hurt. I mean, I was sitting in the truck earlier and just kind of turned and my back popped. I'm like, oh, I'm so old, but I'm too young to feel old. But in order to get these U-joints out, I had to take a torch to it and try to get the metal, heated up enough that I could pound these bad boys out. Well, luckily his girlfriend was sitting low enough that the cap, when it broke off, didn't take her goddamn head off because it looked like a 12 gauge going out of that thing, man. Dented my walls and shit. I'm like, holy shit, maybe we should put up a barrier. I think he made her come in the house. Just saying.
Earlier, I actually have something I was going to tell you earlier. I completely forgot about it. When I was at work, one of the things we have to do in the foundry I work at is occasionally we have to tap out the furnaces. Whereas basically just means we have to run out the excess amount of metal we have melted in there into these giant cavities, and then these cavities get put outside or in some place to cool down and solidify. And then later on, if we are running low on our ingredients, let's just say, we can take this block back out and melt it directly in because it's already got everything it needs in there. It just remelts in there. Well, unfortunately, we had a little bit of an overspill in one of these cavities, which is very, very common, especially the technique, the process. As all you
ladies know out there, you never want an overspill in your cavity.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it caused this lip to form at the top of this block. Well, unfortunately, because of that lip, it was way too big to go into the furnace. It has to be smaller than a certain diameter.
Right.
Well, we go ahead and we get a grinder and a cutting wheel, and we're trying to cut this lip off because the cutting torch we have is kind of a joke.
Everyone loves good equipment.
Yeah.
EMS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what really is awesome about a cutting torch? When you just leave it outside and just collects rust after rust after rust. That's the best thing.
That is so. I mean,
the best way to
just
maintain
take care
equipment.
of your tools like that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I leave every tool that I have outside.
I leave them in a puddle.
Yeah,
and if
me
I don't
too.
have a puddle, I make one with my hose.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes I even like to stick it in the mud and just.
It's like a force field.
Yes, it's great. It's wonderful.
And but we only got so far into this chunk of steel because I mean that cutting wheel is not getting too far into it.
Right.
Now this lip ended up being a good 3.5 inches thick.
Fuck that.
We got about a good 1/2 inch in. So there's still 3 inches left of his steel. I was so proud of myself because I got aggravated because we were running out of cutting wheels and we're like, we're not going to make it through with the cutting it like this.
Yeah.
I grabbed a big ass sledgehammer, took
Beat the fuck out of it?
2 cracks, and it just broke the whole thing right off.
Hell
I was
yeah.
like, yes!
I am a man.
Yeah. Now for all you big guys out there, like, that's nothing. I weigh 160 pounds. I should not have been able to swing that damn hammer.
Clyde is skinny. I am the fat one. Clyde is the skinny one. Just FYI. Yeah, dude. Funny thing. I mean, it's not the same, but similar. So, I think I've told people before, long ago, before even EMS, I used to work for a dealership, car dealership, and I would do building maintenance. Well, part of the thing was, every winter, if we got good snow, me and the other maintenance guy had to come in and put the plows on the trucks and plow out the entire lot and everything. And so it was one of those days where it had snowed the night before, and we had been out plowing before we left. And then the next morning, it had snowed so much it was probably another 4 or 5 inches that it had snowed. So we came in at like 5 o'clock in the morning just to plow out the entire lot before anybody else got there. Well, I was tired, for one. For two, it was one of those, things where when you're exhausted, and especially EMS people know this, coffee is your friend, and nicotine is definitely your friend.
Oh, yeah.
So, I had, and I missed this so much. I'm telling you what, you quit smoking to go to vaping, but dipping for me was the hardest thing to quit. But I missed, in the wintertime, I would get a big old thermos of coffee, and I would get a pouch of apple full leaf chewing tobacco. You know what the full leaf chewing tobacco is? Like chaw.
Yeah, I used to chew Red Man.
Yeah, that is country as fuck. But I would just have apple full leaf filling up one cheek, and I'd be drinking coffee. Well, I didn't get a whole lot of sleep the night before and stuff like that because my boss was calling me at night telling me, hey, we're gonna have to be in, whatever. I was plowing out the lot, and I don't know how the fuck I did this, but apparently I caught one part of the bed of the truck on a brand new car. And I dented the truck, and I didn't even know I did it. My boss actually walked out and goes, "What happened to the truck?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I've just been plowing." He's like, "There's a big old dent there." Dogs are being dicks again. There's a big old dent in the side of the truck, and I got out, and they wanted me to pay to get it fixed. And I was like, "Don't you guys have fucking insurance on this shit?" Like, it was an accident. I've been here way before you guys were here. Well, they wanted me to pay for it, so I pulled it into the shop. I beat the dent out of the truck with my fist. I was like, that'll work. And even though I'm fat, I'm not a big guy, so beating out a dent was pretty okay with me. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Beating that dent out, girl.
If it's dented, ask questions. How did this happen? How long has it been like this?
You know what? I'm not even going to play, guys. There are 3 words that I never have to worry about hearing. Ow, my cervix.
It's very open of you to share that.
Hey, I'm white,
for
dude.
Thousands of people. Dude, I used to say that shit all the time. I've got buddies that always try to make the same corny jokes. They're like, "Oh, I'm black from the waist down."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, really? Because I'm white. I know what I'm packing. Like,
Right, exactly. You know what? That's the difference. I've learned to do the job with what I have, not say that I'm more than I am.
Okay, all right. I used to work at this fast food joint, and us talking about this just reminded me of it. I used to work at this fast food joint, and my manager at the time
Are you telling people what you used to tell The new hires?
No.
Okay,
I told that story.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Yeah, my manager at the time, I had 2 managers while I worked there. And one of them was a little older. She and I actually became really, really good friends. You know, I look up to her a lot. I ask her questions all the time. I still talk to her regularly. The other one, we were really good friends. I still talk to her when I get the chance, but I don't go out of my way.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Now, the younger one, she was really, really funny. Just really funny. She always said the funniest things, and the best part was she didn't intend them to be funny.
Right.
And it wasn't that she was dumb. She just didn't think before she spoke.
Oh, I have that problem. My filter is always broken.
Well, one day she's talking to me about her boyfriend. Okay, and her boyfriend was at the time he was locked up. Okay, she was telling me stories about him. Talking about she was drop dead in love with him. Well, one day she looks at me, and I can't remember how it happened, but she said something about how to her, it was weird that guys stood when they peed.
Why?
And that's my question. Now, granted, at the time, I was like 17 years old, so I'm pretty sure she could have gotten in trouble for even asking me that question.
Okay, but I have a question for any females out there. If you could stand to pee, would you stand to pee?
I know a lot of women that say yes because it would save time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They actually make a funnel that's called the Shiwi, and you put it up to...
I don't know any women that would use it. That's a lie. I know one, but she's kind of a walking virus.
Not to take from your story, but my other question on the Shiwi thing is, what do you do when you're done? Do you just stick it back in your purse, or... I mean, you would have to fucking clean that thing, right? I'm just saying.
Just imagine going into a bathroom and you see somebody who's like, just wiping it out in the sink, like, yeah, all done.
Rinse that bitch off, and because the only time when I could really see that feasible is if you're outdoors, like camping, fishing, hanging out outside somewhere where there's not a bathroom.
When it was invented, that was probably the intention behind it.
Just use it, and all of you see a chick come out from behind a tree, and she's just going and spitting into the thing. Yeah, that's gross. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, she looks at me and she's like, I think it's weird that guys stand when they pee. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And she's like, when they stand and they pee. And then she, no shit, backs away from the counter and puts both hands in front of her like she's gripping a goddamn fire hose. Like she's like when they pee, I'm like, I freeze. I'm just kind of standing there looking at her, and she's like, well, what? And I'm like, dude, who have you slept with?
No, she's done the Great American Challenge.
And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, who is that big around? I was like, I'm sorry, but you're wrecked for anyone who came after that. And she's
like throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
And she starts cracking up. And she's like, oh, well, and she starts bringing her boyfriend. I'm like, right there.
No, thank you.
Knock it off.
Pass.
I'm done. I will listen to any other story, but do not tell me about his ding dang. I'm done.
We've talked about sex toys before. There's actually one called the Great American Challenge, and it's supposedly like as big girth-wise as like a coffee can. I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it. If you can, honestly, it's the same thing as fisting. If you are into fisting, I can do nothing for you. I am so sorry. Like, just let me know ahead of time.
I used to hang out with this little lesbian chick who her hands, I do not have massively large hands. I have hands large for my body size, but not massive.
Right.
And I'd be able to put her hand in mine and then fold my fingers over hers because how small she was. And I used to tease her all the time. Like, now, this girl, she was really, really short. In general, I think she was like 4'11".
Okay, yeah.
Like, she was tiny. Sweetheart, but tiny. And I used to tease her all the time because I'm
bordering on midget size.
Because yeah. And I remember one time she said something about a girl she was fooling around with, and she decided to do like the 2-finger like wave back and forth thing.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, let's be honest. You could jam your whole arm up there and start tickling the bottom of her lungs if you wanted to. Your hands are that tiny. And she was like, I never thought of that. And I was like, oh my God, dude, seriously? And she's like, what? I'm like, if it works for you, it works for you, man. Good luck. I'm glad I could help you figure that one out.
I'm still trying to figure out where the term flicking the bean came from, because that just doesn't seem, fairly accurate, I suppose. I don't know. It is what it is.
Drew.
Yeah.
Do I have to have the sex talk with you?
No. Okay. I've done it plenty of times.
Okay. No, I got that part down, dude. Thanks a lot.
I just want to. I just want to know
like
where
the terminology.
The term, yeah, it's a weird term. I don't think I've ever heard a girl say that term before. So I was wondering where it came from. I mean, I understand what it looks like, but anyway, just weird things pop in my head. Yeah. It's the aliens, whatever, or sleep deprivation. One of the two. Probably sleep deprivation. See, these are the things I sit around at when I'm alone at home and the power goes out. This is what I think about. So.
Or what's one of my favorite ones was
Little Man in the Boat.
No, when you're really really high and you're looking on the internet and you see a picture of the first camera.
Okay.
Who took the picture? now sober, you're like. They probably developed a second camera to take the picture. But
yeah,
when you're drunk, high, or exhausted, you're like, no, there's more going on here, man.
It's kind of like, have you seen those pictures? And of course they could be photoshopped or whatever, but like photos of people in the 20s or 30s where somebody's on a cell phone. Like they got their hand up to their head like they're talking on a cell phone. You're like, what the fuck was that? Where did that come from? Who is that man? Is time travel real? I hope it is. I hope he
probably not yet, but I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't mind a DeLorean that could, travel back through time.
That's true. That is true. Have you ever noticed how what kind of person you are is immediately what you think of?
What do you mean?
You're a car guy,
right?
So your favorite mode of transportation is the DeLorean.
Well, I mean,
how many nerds out there? Now, I am a nerd, so I'm not being mean. How many nerds out there do you think are like, I would love a TARDIS?
Yeah, see, that goes. But all right,
Harry Potter fans, the Time Turner.
Okay, but let me go ahead and put it out there. Time Turner and DeLorean are the two better choices because number one. With a DeLorean, you have a mode of transportation once you get there. Number two, the Time Turner, you don't have a big box that's going to land somewhere. Because I have a theory that there are many, many people who have died in Doctor Who because he
just Wizard of Oz them.
Yeah.
Just, bam! Just landed on him, just red shoes sticking out.
Yep, exactly.
Like, yep, nope, wrong time. Get back in. Go.
Get in. Yeah, that's my theory. I'm just saying. I don't know all the logistics on that stuff, but I'm just putting it out there.
There's no actual number, but we're pretty sure it's cover up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
serial smashings throughout history.
That's how Hitler died. It wasn't actually suicide.
Holy shit!
Right? Yeah, but I think if you had a vehicle that you go back in time, at least then you are able to drive around or find shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, but which one was it? Number 2, where they showed why that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
No, is it 2 or 3 when he goes back to?
2 is when he goes to the future.
And then number 3 is when he went way back in time.
Right. But then my honest question about number 3 is, why did Doc Brown decide that a train was the best way to travel through time after the DeLorean? Because
can you think of any other mechanical vehicle that could reach 88 miles an hour?
No, but he went to the future because at the end of it could fly. So he had to go back to the future to get the flying mechanism to put on the train.
Or he developed it because he's from the future.
No, man. He had to go to the future to put it on there.
Hey, man, you know what? Stop nitpicking. Because that train, I love that train. I want that train. It didn't need tracks.
Well, I mean, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still saying he had to go to the future. So he should have just got a different vehicle and made another time machine to put on the future.
But he already had one.
Okay. Oh, well,
Maybe he's frugal.
okay. All right. No, if you the outfits in 3 at the end of the movie, he was not
No.
frugal.
Okay, no. He was frugal. She was not.
Okay. All right.
Because
Yeah.
think about how he dressed in every other movie.
Yeah.
Then he got himself an old lady, and shit started changing.
Yeah. And he had 2 kids, so you know that wasn't like a frugal thing to do anyway. I don't know how many people listening have children. I don't, but I can only imagine. What's the statistic on that? It's like $160,000 to raise them to 18. Probably more than that now.
So probably more than that, because I know just raising my son is really expensive. Like, let's put it this way: I make more money now than I really ever have before, other than when I was a correctional officer.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And I have the least amount of money that I have ever had.
Okay.
In my pocket. Like, yeah. Honestly, I'm glad that early when we first had him,
Yeah.
that I was a correctional officer, because of how expensive just newborns are.
Yes.
Because children, they grow fast. They do. That is a fact of life. They grow fast. But they will never grow faster than in the first year of their life.
Oh yeah.
Because this clothes just...
Why don't you just wrap them in fucking like a sheet for the first year?
Newspaper.
Yeah, because I don't understand why like parents buy cute kid clothes for the first year when every time I see anybody post anything, and I've seen John post quite a bit on this, like, she can't wear it anymore. Amberlynn grew out of it. I'm like, well, what'd you expect? Sorry, bro.
Well, honestly, it's really not always the parents. Yeah, I'd also consider the grandparents.
Yeah, true.
Grandparents, aunts and uncles. Like the other day, actually it was yesterday, I was at the phone store because I just got a new phone. And there was a lady there who had 3 kids. It was a husband, wife, they had 3 kids there. And the youngest one had these shoes on that every time he took a step, it would squeak like a dog toy. And this kid was running. It was like, squeak, 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 squeak. Like, just making laps in this thing.
Oh, God.
In this store. And
that would drive me fucking crazy.
One of the workers was like, where did he get those shoes? Now, she was a new mother because her boyfriend and baby showed up. And I had my son there. So like, all these kids were playing together while we're all trying to buy phones. Like pretty much Sprint turned into a daycare.
That sounds like hell.
For people without kids, yes. For people with kids, it's nice to be able to take your kid somewhere. Now, it doesn't always happen like this. But if you take your kid somewhere, like if you're running errands and you're like, okay, I'm going to have to not only do this, but I have to occupy my kid.
Yeah.
When they have another little kid to play with, all you got to do is look up at them every
5-10 minutes.
No, way more often than that, dude.
Okay.
When they're still in toddler stage, way more often than 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of shit they can get into in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But
you look up and they're in the back of the store, like going through all the boxes and shit.
Got like 9 iPhones opened up, like, huh, is it the iPhone X?
I just had a heart attack. Stop it.
My arm's going numb. Is my face drooping? I taste pennies.
I smell burnt toast.
But no, you look up at him every once in a while. I mean, I usually look up at my son, make sure he's not doing anything. Between 45 seconds, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
Right.
I know some parents are gonna be like, oh, well, that's too much. That's helicopter parenting.
I've met his son. No, that's not.
No, my kid can get into a lot of shit if you take your eyes off him for too long.
Especially when he's wearing boots. Just saying.
And so it was pretty cool. One of the ladies there asks, she's like, oh my God, where did you get those shoes? She's like, my sister-in-law. Who doesn't have kids.
Her sister-in-law.
Oh, man.
You could have seen the fires of hell in that mom's eyes whenever she said that.
See, that's why I love my sister. Because she has 4 boys. So
she understands.
Yeah. So she doesn't always send my son home with just like obnoxiously loud shit.
Right.
I, on the other hand, am not as thoughtful. I got my 2 youngest nephews. One is 4 and one is 5. Flinging sticky poo for Christmas.
All right. If you really wanted to be a dick, you should have got him a drum set to share.
I got him cap guns.
Okay.
Cap guns and flinging sticky poo. Yep.
Is it like the old sticky hands that you used to get at the grocery store?
No, they're like these turds that you would stick on the end of your finger, and then you could fling it like a rubber band, and then whatever it hits, it sticks to.
It's kind of like the sticky hands.
Yeah, but you're not really holding on to it and whipping back. Like you're just like shooting them at each other.
Oh no! When I was a kid, I MacGyvered that motherfucker and turned it into that thing because I wanted a projectile. I could shoot it, whatever. I just wonder how the sticky poo is going to hold up, because remember how those sticky hands, if they hit the floor once, you were done because it got every little piece of dirt and dog hair and yeah.
Do you remember bee stings?
I mean, I've had a few bee stings in my life.
No, bee stings were something that, now I called them bee stings because they felt like a bee sting. Okay, when I was in like the 5th grade, it really developed around here. I don't know if it's a super popular thing. I know you've seen it on movies, but just the extent we went to with them is where you take these little squares, piece of paper, you like just tear a little square off of notebook paper, and then you'd fold it, like you just kind of roll it, and then fold it in half, stick it on a rubber band, and shoot it at somebody.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people made them so they're probably 2 or 3 centimeters across. Okay. But so they were like folding it. But if you rolled it and then did it, the tip would be rock fucking hard.
Okay.
So when you hit somebody, it would make a welt. And he became my best friend in high school, and he and I were really good friends in elementary school. But we would sit there in class and just shoot them across the class at each other. Especially if one of us was reading or something.
Yeah.
The teacher turned around while one of us was doing like oh man, if one of us was doing like
Please read this section, Mr. Russell.
I would start reading, she'd turn around and was like right in the side of my neck. I'd be like
The quick brown fox.
I got really good at titty twisters when I was in school. Like, I am laser accurate when it comes to nipple placement these days.
We actually used to name them, the different techniques we would use when I was on the wrestling team for the new guys.
Nice.
Yeah. And one of them was called the bullwhip.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that one was actually horrible. We had this kid. Now, I'm going to tell the story, and we're going to sound like we were bullies. And we kind of were. And we called him chunky shit.
Well,
now since high school, I did apologize to him. I was like, you know what, we really did like you.
Well, maybe if he had more fiber in his diet, it wouldn't be so chunky.
Well, we called him chunky shit because he was kind of a pudgy freshman,
right?
And we were juniors and seniors, stuff like that. He was a good kid, really smart, really really funny, and he was our freshman. We adopted him.
Okay,
that was our freshman. If anyone else messed with him, you'd have this entire group, half them being wrestlers, on their ass.
Right, yeah.
Like, no, you don't fuck with him. We fuck with him, and that is it.
Okay.
And we knew when to draw the line. Like, if he was obviously getting upset about something, we'd be like, hey, knock it off. It's done. Well, after high school, I ran into him, and I was like, hey, man, I'm actually kind of sorry about that. Like, we probably took it a little too far. And he's like, sometimes it did get a little rough, but you guys weren't even the worst bullies I had. And I'm like, okay, one, you should have told us you were being bullied because that would have stopped right away.
Right, yeah.
But anyway.
I'm going to bully my cat right now because he looks like a fucking potato. Fuck you, Darwin.
I don't know how to feel about that. I'm going to bully my cat because he looks like a potato.
He does.
Okay.
He's a fucking chunky ass. Look at him.
I can't get past the huge head.
Yeah. Still. Anyway.
The bullwhip.
Right.
You grab both of them at the same time, twist.
Mm.
And then you fling up and down. You fling your arms up and down so it like jerks on them too.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. We called it the bullwhip because the first time somebody did it to Chunky, he hit his knees.
I bet.
Like, we thought we ripped one of them off. Because, like, he dropped and he grabbed his titties and he was like, ah! We're like, Oh god, we fucked up.
I mean, this was even a high school, but do you remember when you were kids and you'd be playing and all of a sudden somebody would get hurt and then everyone would scatter and try to like
scatter like cockroaches because nobody wanted to get in trouble.
Either that or try to find something to like appease him, like if you don't tell mom, I will give you whatever toy you want. That was
I heard that a lot. I'm the youngest sibling. Well, I've got one younger sibling, but I didn't meet her till I was 19.
Right.
But that's a different story. But yeah, I was the youngest sibling in my house. I heard that a lot. If you stop crying, we'll give you all the ice cream in the freezer. It's not even yours to give, you liar.
I had one friend, and he had two brothers, but he was the youngest, and I was over at his house one day. And he had a set of binoculars, and he wanted me to look through them. So I was looking through his binoculars, and out of nowhere, he just smacked the front of the binoculars and shoved them into my eyes. And I was like, what the fuck? And I didn't even know what fuck meant at the time. But probably 8-year-old me didn't say fuck, but, that's what I was thinking at the time, going back to it. Yeah, that was one of those situations where I got all the action figures.
Me and now this wasn't a case where it was like, oh my god, let's try to make him feel better. No, this was just a scatter situation. It was
did they think they killed you?
No. I was actually on the other side of this, where it was just me and a group of buddies. I think it was let's see, Brian, Rodney, Tyler, Tommy, myself. There's 5 of us.
No one knows who that is.
Well, I was just naming them. Okay. I was just naming them real quick. There's 5 of us real quick. And we were like WWF wrestling in the backyard.
That's a bad idea.
My God. It was such a bad idea. And because my mother didn't like me watching wrestling, so she didn't know at the time.
Did you see Mean Gene died this year?
I did.
We've already had 3 celebrity deaths in 2019. And they usually come in threes.
Shit.
Yeah. So this year it's going to be like 9.
Does it say 3 sets of 3?
Yeah. Anyway.
When all those celebrity deaths were going on, was it last year before? Like when everybody
it's been almost
was dying?
Every year.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you know how many people were like,
oh my god, James Avery just died?
It's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he died like 10 years ago.
Really?
Everyone was like freaking out. Oh, by the way, random fact for you. He was also the voice of the Shredder from the 80s adaptation.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know who Sonic was?
Yes. It was... Jaleel White,
who played
Urkel.
Yep, there you go. Yep, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog from the cartoon was Steve Urkel.
Yeah, that's a fuck right there.
Yeah,
but I loved.
Whole cartoon was a fuck. Like,
well,
that whole cartoon was weird.
Yeah, but I loved the Urkel show. I can't even.
Family Matters.
Yeah, Family Matters. I loved that show, but it was always. I remember watching the entire thing where it was Steve Urkel, and then he turned into whatever Stefan.
Yep.
I was like, how did that motherfucker make himself look like a nerd that hardcore for years? Like, what happened when he was in school doing that show? You know what I mean? Anyway, but WWF.
Okay, we were all WWF wrestling in the backyard. Well, one of the dudes like ran around the side of this really small tree and was holding this branch back. And as soon as he let go,
Hadouken!
Like as soon as he lets go, I don't know how it happened, but somebody like got thrown toward the tree and it smacked him right across the neck and chest and just took him off his feet, and he hit the ground like on wrestling where his feet like popped up from underneath him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And like his arms go across his chest. We're like, yeah. And then we realize he can't breathe. Scatter. Like, all of us ran in different directions. The best part.
2 kids were up the tree looking down.
The best part was the kid that was on the ground went and then he like rolled over onto his stomach, got up, and started running.
Well, in that case, nobody wants to get in trouble.
No,
not even the one
like
injured.
He was done.
Fuck it, I'm out. I don't know where I'm going. I'm going somewhere. Yeah.
We didn't see him for like 2 days. We went over to his house. We're like, hey, I'm not gonna say who it was, just in case one of these guys happened to be listening. Like, hey, just such and such, home. And they're like, yeah, he's home. He hasn't felt good the last couple of days. He says his chest hurts. And oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's because there's a couple of cracked fucking ribs in that bitch. But
oh, okay. Can we see him? They're like, yeah, sure, you can go up and see him. He might be contagious, so he's coughing a lot. We're like, okay. We go up there, and he like looks at us, and he's like,
he's got crushed trachea.
He's like, it's still a little hard to breathe. Like, oh yeah. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure I told this story before when John was here, but the closest. Now, I've had a lot of near-death experiences, both working and non-working, okay? And one of them that I vividly remember was when I had a child's bicycle that I was going to ride off of the edge of a picnic table because somehow me and John found a child's bicycle in a park. And there was a picnic table there, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to ride this thing off. I'll just jump it off and, whatever. That did not happen. What happened was the front tire went off, it hit the ground, I face planted and kicked the back of my own head. I did full scorpion. Yes. Now, with a mouthful of dirt and grass, I couldn't breathe or move for a good minute. And it was John and somebody else. And literally right after it happened, they went, oh, shit. Because they could see I wasn't breathing. And it was one of those issues where I was like, if I breathe, it's going to hurt. So I'm spitting dirt, spitting grass out. And I was like, all right, I move one leg. Oh, I'm not paralyzed. Good. I move the other leg. Oh, good. It still works. Then move one arm. And then the other arm.
So bad.
That might be part of where my back pain that I have came from. Just putting it out there.
This one's not as funny, but I remember actually getting stopped by a cop because my younger brother and the little lesbian friend I was mentioned earlier, they were really good friends too. Okay.
All right.
That's actually how I met her, because they were really good friends, and he would always talk about her, and I happened to run into her at, I think, like a Walgreens or something like that.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was playing a lot of music, and I knew she played guitar. I was like, hey, how about we get something together? Yeah, awesome. Well, they were hanging out, and I ran into him at the Walmart up in town.
At the Walmart?
At the Walmart. And I go ahead, and I see her. I'm like, hey. She's like, hey, what's up? And I was like, what are you guys doing? We were talking for a little while, and she's like, well, we got to go. And I was like, okay. I'm talking to him, and my little brother was like, hey, we got to go. Okay. Well, she keeps talking to me, and now she was the one who said we got to go first. I'm like, okay. And then she didn't get in the car, so I was like, so I just kept talking to her. Then he's like, hey, we do have to go. I think they were like going to a movie or something like that. And then she kept talking to me. I was like, dude, what? Get in the car. She's like, but I haven't seen you in like 4 days, and I just want to tell you, I'm like, get in the car. She's like, but
you gotta go, motherfucker.
And so she's like, I just wanted to tell you this one last time. I'm like, no, get in the car. She's like, but okay, Justin, roll down the window. She's like, okay. Rolls down the window. I picked her little ass up and just like stuffed her through the window. Well, evidently, from a distance, it looked like I was stealing a child from the car when the cop drove past.
or a kidnapping, one of the two.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
And he's like, is there a problem here? I was like, no, they're going to a movie, and she wouldn't get in the car, so I stuffed her in the car. And he was like, how old are you? I was like, I am 20 years old, sir. And he's like, damn kids. And then he drives off. I'm like, I could have gone to jail, and I know it. Like, if you really wanted to be an ass, I could have gone to jail.
If you want a good police story, so John and I, when we were living in Lincoln, and we were playing in the band all the time, I had this little red hatchback Mustang, and it wasn't anything fancy. It was just a 4-cylinder, 5-speed. I had plans to turn it into a 5.0 or whatever. Well, four cylinders, decent on gas. So we would literally pack the back of this thing full of all of our music gear and stuff like that, and then just drive it to the shows or whatever. And it wasn't as good as like having a truck or whatever, because you could only fit 2 people in it. But it was like, fuck it, at least it works. Well, we used to go to this park. That
Best you could do with what you had.
Exactly, because we were broken in college.
Yep.
So there was this state park up there, and we drove up there because we were like, it's nice, it's summertime, we're just gonna go adventure around and whatever. So we're walking around this park. Well, we were walking down the stream that was goes through the park, and we came across a car that was like buried completely. Like, it looked like it used to be an old, like, probably 56 Bel Air or something like that, the bubble top and all that stuff. But you couldn't get in the car because there was dirt in the car and all the way up to the roof line. The only thing you could see was like 3 inches of the A, B, and C pillar and the roof. So we were fucking around with that for a while. Like, wonder how this shit got here, blah, blah, blah. We're like, kept walking a little bit further and didn't realize that we weren't in the state park anymore. And somebody, like, out of a field came out and started yelling at us. And we were like, what the fuck's your problem, dude? Like, chill the fuck out, blah, blah, blah. It was, goddamn kids, what are you doing on my property? And I'm like, well, we thought we were still in the park. Sorry, dude. And we're like, we're getting out of here. Fuck off. I think pretty much was the last statement said. So we turn around and we follow the river all the way back. Well, we were met at the car by 2 squad cars, and they wanted to search the vehicle because apparently the dude that owned the property that came out and was yelling at us had some stuff stolen like 2 weeks before or something like that. We were like, yeah, you can search it, but I mean, it's all music equipment in here. There's nothing that we're not supposed to have. The cop was
ignore our bongs.
So they're pulling out my fucking 412 cab and my my amp head and all that stuff, and I was like, the only thing I ask is you let me open up the guitar cases, because I was like, I've got a $2,000 Gibson in there and I just don't want anything to happen to it. Luckily the guy was cool enough and he was like, yeah, dude, I don't know what this fucking dude's problem is, because you guys were in the park, you didn't realize you'd gotten that far, that should have been the end of it. But yeah, I looked at John when we were done, I was like, what the fuck would we have done if they were just like literally yanking everything out of the car and just throwing it on the ground? I'm like, that's all of my music equipment.
Yeah.
That would have sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's there's good cops and there's bad cops. I've seen a lot of like videos on YouTube of cops going way too far with some of that shit. I've seen a few of them that it's like, if you got a canine officer, apparently it looks like on some of these videos, it doesn't care who they pull over. They're just going to run the dog around, and if they even get a sniff or whatever, they're going to search the car. But I've also seen the videos where you can literally see the cop telling the dog where to scratch or, bark or whatever. And it's like, that's sketchy. I don't like that.
That is a situation where the force has a quota, because not everywhere has a quota. But some places do.
Right, yeah.
Or a lot of places do. And unfortunately, when you get toward the end of the month and they don't have their quota.
Yeah. Then they just want to get whatever the fuck they can get.
Officers will pull that kind of shady shit. No, it could be just them doing it personally. They're like, hey, I'm going to do it. Or it could be they could have had direct orders to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And personally, I've never agreed with quotas, because I'm sorry, but now granted, I'm not an officer, so I'm not 100% sure how that works. But if you have a quota where you have to write so many tickets, or have to have so many vehicle searches, or have to have so many this stuff like that, that just makes the town look bad.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the ones where there are certain towns, I think maybe Arkansas, maybe Oklahoma, there's a few towns that have laws on the books, these are small towns, that an officer can pull over a vehicle, search the vehicle, and any large amounts of money can be seized without any probable cause of anything. And there was one department that I saw that got in trouble because I want to say the sheriff and the deputies and stuff used the seized cash to buy like a popcorn machine and a big screen TV for their station and all that stuff. And the reason the dude had the large amount of cash was he was passing through to go buy a car. And he fought it for like 2 years. And finally, they came back and said, "Well, we can reimburse you what's left of it, but we don't have to give you what we've already used for police, quote unquote, police equipment." Yeah, there was a big story of it I saw, and it was that was fucked up, and it happened to like 4 or 5 other people, and I think they finally changed the law. But there's some small places that they'll pass laws like that where they can just seize whatever they want out of your vehicle. And they can sell it, they can keep it, they can do whatever, and it's like, that's not right. That's unconstitutional. I don't give a fuck who you think you are, you know?
Yeah, no, that's wrong.
You know what?
This
is what scares the hell out of me because, you know, when I buy a new car or I buy a used car or something like that, I tear the whole thing apart and clean it top to bottom because that's what one of my biggest fears is. I buy a new car. And somebody's either had marijuana in there or some other drug, and there's just a trace amount or something like that. And then somebody comes along and wants to search the car. You know, I haven't done any like marijuana or anything like that since I was in college, but you know they can still smell the trace amounts and stuff like that. I don't know for how long, but then I'm potentially getting in trouble because somebody else had it in the car before I even bought the damn thing.
Right.
You know, and the funny thing is, what really made me pay attention to that is my dad likes the old Crown Vics, like ex-police cars. He's had 2. The first one he got, he wanted me to work on something on the inside or whatever. And most police cars, you can just take the back seat out because if they put somebody in the back, they take the back seat out whenever they go, you know, search after they put them in jail or whatever. There was a bag of weed I found under the back seat in an old police car. Yeah, so that sketched the fuck out of me. I was like, for any car that I buy now, the first thing that I'm taking out is the back seats and make sure that there's nothing like hidden under something.
I've only had one unfortunate run-in with a cop, and it wasn't really unfortunate because he was being a jerk. It was the situation that he and I were both in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I was like 18 years old. All right. I had my license. I was not living at home at the time. It was during my bout of, I know I was living at home actually now I think about it because it was just before I ended up getting kicked out.
Okay.
And like right before my little bout of being homeless.
Right. Yeah.
And a friend of mine had mentioned that she had never had Wendy's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. But never had Wendy's before, and I was like,
quick side note, have you seen the fact that they have a sale at Wendy's right now where you get a double junior bacon cheeseburger, nuggets, fries, and a drink for $5
I don't trust the Wendy's in town.
Oh, I'll trust it. I don't give a shit.
No,
I might get the poops, but I'll be okay.
No, I mean I don't trust the people that work there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Every time I go in there, it's really shady. Like I'm like, is this really the cream of the crop thing for you guys? Like really? Because I mean, I get better customer service at McDonald's. Just saying. I'm not trying to take a crack at McDonald's, but
I'll take a crack
just
at
saying.
McDonald's. Anyway, so she never had Wendy's.
But never had Wendy's before. So a friend of mine was like, you know what? I'm having a party tonight. I'm not going to be driving. How about you borrow my car? Now, unfortunately, the car I was borrowing was really his grandfather's. That really doesn't come into play, but that kind of has something to do with it. So
that's why I don't loan out my cars or borrow cars. Really,
it was his grandfather's because his grandfather makes a lot of money through his retirement, like a lot of money, like more money in a month than I can make in 6 months, and that's just his retirement.
Damn.
Yeah, makes a lot of money.
I would love to have something like that. Just saying.
Well, evidently he owns certain copyrights to certain bits of machinery that are mass produced here in town that the company still uses to this day, like 40 years later.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he owns the copyright for them. And so he makes a lot of money every time they put one of those things that he owns the copyright for in one of their machinery. You know?
Nice. Yeah.
And anyway, so I borrow this car. And now it's nothing spectacular. It's a little 90s model Chrysler LeBaron.
Right, yeah.
You know, a little drop top, you know, cute little thing. Well, I go pick her up. I'm like, hey, we're going to go to Wendy's. Cool. Now I talk to my buddy and I'm like, you know, I'll drop the car off tonight. Okay, before you really start partying.
Right.
I'll drop the car off stay sober till like 10 o'clock, take my ass home, then get as shit-faced as you want.
Right, yeah.
I pick her up, go to Wendy's, get her, eat. I take her home. Cool. I go back to his house. As I'm coming around a corner, I see the red and blues in front of his house.
His grandpa reported it stolen.
No.
Oh.
No. Evidently. Now, here's the thing about this buddy and I. We fit the same police description. We're both between 5'10 and 6 foot, because he was 5'10, I'm 6 foot.
Right.
Both between 5'10, scrawny white guys with glasses, both had a shaved head, like similar complexion because it was the middle of summer, both tan. Like, we looked a lot alike.
I really thought you were going to go with theft on this one.
No, even worse. Worse than theft. So as I'm pulling around the corner, because I'm like, well, shit, I slowed down this much. They know I meant to make a turn.
Right.
And I could see all eyes on me. Now, there were like 9 cops outside this house.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there was like 7 or 8 police cars, like 9 cops. I'm like, oh, shit on me. So I make a turn. I'm creeping on the road slow, and I can see them just watch me, like closing in behind me, so I couldn't back up. They're closing in front, so I couldn't speed up. And I'm like, and then one guy, the biggest, burliest, baldest motherfucker there was there,
at that moment,
just like slowly does that cop walk where his thumb's inside of his belt in the middle of the road and just puts his hand out.
I think at that moment you could put a piece of coal up your butt and make a diamond.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I was like,
okay.
dude, I didn't even do anything, but at 18 and this is going on, I'm like, I'm going to jail. Like,
I'm gonna die.
Like, I'm going to jail. I'm too pretty to last in prison. So he goes ahead and he's like, holds us hand. So I pull over to the side of the road and I stop. I roll in the middle. I was like, evening, officer. It's like, now he doesn't have gum in his mouth. I didn't know what it was at the time. Now I know the smell. He had chaw in his mouth. And he's like,
most cops fucking chew. I'm just saying.
What's your name? Clyde. He's like, I don't believe you. Is your name? Friend's name.
Insert friend name here.
I was like, no. Well, I really don't believe you. Here's my license. And he's like, well, Clyde. Hands me back my license. He's like, see, the problem we have here tonight is your friend was driving this vehicle. Yes, sir, it's his vehicle. Why do you have it? And I didn't want to explain that. I just took a girl and I was like, I had a date. He loaned it to me. Well.
He got a warrant?
No. He's like, well, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. Sorry. He's like, well, the problem is there was a young man that was last seen inside this vehicle. He has been reported as a runaway because you were the person driving this car. We could take you to jail unless we get some answers from the people inside that house, and we know they're in there.
Huh.
Like, okay. And he's like, so do you think you can get them to come out?
It's your phone out.
Dude, you get your ass out here right now because I'm not going to jail for you. He's like, what? No, he is whispering. He's like, Clyde. I was like, yeah, dude, it's me. And he's like, what are you doing here?
If you don't come out now, I'm going to beat your ass.
It's 9:45. That's what I'm doing here. I told you to stay sober till 10 so you could drive my ass home. Get out here. And he's like, dude, why didn't you just go home?
Cause
I don't know. The flashing red and blues surrounding me. Like, come out here. I see his girlfriend open the door. Now there's like 20 people in this house, and his girlfriend opens the door. Just like,
they were probably all
Hello?
under 21 and all
every single
drunk.
dude. Okay, I was the oldest one, and I was 18.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
And they were all smashed.
so shit faced. Every single one of them shit faced. And she opens the door and they're talking to him. I just kind of look at him like, sir, what do you want? They came out. Can I go home now? And he's like, you take this vehicle with you and you park it. What's your address? It's on my license. Here you go. I couldn't think of what it was.
Right.
I was like, I'm terrified. It's like, here you go. And he's like, he writes my address down. He's like, I will stop by later, and if this vehicle is not in the driveway, we will come looking for you. I was like, yes, sir.
It'll be there.
I went home. I crashed. I woke up at like 4 a.m. And I'm like, as soon as 6 o'clock rolls around, my ass is bringing this over there and pounding on the door till he answers. And that's what I did. 6 a.m. rolled around. I was pounding on that door. I'm like, you get out here now.
Did they end up taking the car or what?
No, they ended up taking the kid. Evidently, he left. Evidently, he got into a fight with his parents right before he left.
Right.
When they left, they just reported him as a runaway.
That's kind of shitty too.
That is shitty. Especially since I could have gone to jail for that.
Right. I'll be real honest. I have never had a bad... now, being a car guy, I have a tendency to drive quick. Especially being an EMS, when I'm used to driving an ambulance that has flashies and wooies that I can go fast. So usually when I'm off, I'll just end up forgetting that I'm not in an ambulance and driving too fast and not pay attention to my speed. But most of the time, when I've either been pulled over or talked to by state police or most, outside our area police officers, it's fine. But seems like the sheriff's department in this area, I've pissed off a couple of guys because when I've been at work. So whenever I get pulled over by them, they make it a way more drawn out issue than it needs to be. And it's like, dude, can you just not? I don't know. Like, really, just treat me like you would anybody else, not be a dick. I actually got pulled over coming out of Virginia by Virginia State Police, and I have my CCW. So they pulled me over for speeding. It was like right around a curve, getting onto the interstate, and I was doing like 70 and a 65 or something like that. It's like, wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, around here it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
He pulled me over and like walked up, knocked on it. Of course, I got Illinois license plates, so they're like, "What are you doing in Virginia?" and all that stuff. And he wanted my license. Well, the one thing that you got to take into account when you have your CCW is don't reach for anything until you let them know that, yes, sir, my driver's license is in my back left pocket, and my CCW permit's in there too. Do you want me to go ahead and get it? Because the last thing you want is for like to move the wrong way and then show something that they don't necessarily want to see on somebody. You know what I mean? That was one thing that I learned very quickly whenever I started carrying, because I was like, I don't want to fuck this up somehow,
Oh yeah, you always hear a lot of these guys, especially with CCW advocates, so they're like, well, you do not need to tell a police officer you are carrying.
No, but it makes it a lot easier.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? You don't. But would you rather be right or happy?
Right. Exactly.
Honestly, it's funny about that. That's the advice that my father-in-law gave to me about marriage.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Uh-huh.
And I was like, would you rather be right or happy? Just let them know. Like, you know what, sir, I know I'm not required to tell you this, but I feel like it would be better for your safety and for mine. I am carrying as of right now. This is where it is located. Would you like me to remove it from the holster and give it to you? Would you like me to ignore it? And then let them know, hey, this is where my wallet is, because
I can tell you exactly.
I'm right-handed. That's where I keep it. My wallet is in my right back pocket.
Right.
I would have to reach past it. Of course I'm going to tell them I got it.
Right. Well, see, that's my thing is, for some reason, I always carry my wallet in my left back pocket, because I was carrying it on my right. So if for some reason I need to get to it, like say somebody wants to steal my wallet or something, then I can reach for my wallet, but still have my hand free to get to what I need to get. You know what I mean? Just putting it out there. But every time that I've ever been pulled over by a police officer while carrying, it's been a decent experience, because from the get-go, because I talked to a lot of the cop buddies that I have and ask them, what would you prefer, if I'm carrying, what would you prefer me to do in, XYZ scenario? And all of them have told me, just tell me, hey, I've got my license with my CCW in this pocket. What would you like me to do? And I've never been asked to disarm by a police officer, because they're like, as long as it stays in that holster, it can stay in that holster, but don't pull it out. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because I've actually talked to some police officers myself, and they said that in situations like that, especially right around some of the mass shootings we've had
right
in the past, well, I should say not right around, but like right afterward, there were a lot of cops that were actually asking people with CCW to disarm and place the firearm on the roof of the car, so that way they'd have to reach out and pass the cop to get it if they really wanted to do anything.
I don't like that
And
philosophy at all.
I don't like that either, because you always take that risk of while you're handing it over. What's to stop it from bang?
Right, exactly.
I mean, they already have it out.
I saw one dumb motherfucker on YouTube saying that the best way to deal with that situation would be to take it out and put it on the dash before the cop even got up there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what would happen if a cop saw a weapon going up towards the dash?
Have you ever seen the videos? I think his name is like Mike the Cop.
Oh yeah, I've seen Mike the Cop.
Okay, and some of the funnier things he puts on like YouTube and on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the funniest ones I ever saw was it was a reaction to that video. It was him standing in a park waving the gun around like, "Hey mom, I got this firearm." Like, "Excuse me, Mr. Officer, would you like this?" And then he pointed it right at the camera.
I can tell you for a fact. I mean, I'm not an officer. I'm I'm paramedic. But if I was a cop and I walked up and saw a gun on the dash, the first thing I'm going to do is pull my weapon out and point it at the guy until I got back up there.
Get into a blind zone and be like right behind him. Be like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, this shit just got real.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, as long as you're carrying it correctly, nobody should ever know that you have it until you tell them you have it.
I had a friend who I hung out with the middle brother. Okay, he and I were really good buddies. I actually call him a brother to this day. I give him a call every once in a while. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Well, he had an older brother and a younger brother. The youngest brother put a BB gun in the glove box.
Oh, I've seen live PD. This never ends well.
Of his older brother's car. Well, his older brother didn't know it was there.
Oh, shit.
That's where he keeps everything. All of his legal stuff.
Well, that could cause a problem.
He got pulled over because he was telling me the story. The older brother was telling me the story. He was like, "Yeah, I got pulled over." So he doesn't really like police officers as it is.
Right.
He's like, "I got pulled over and because I heard he got arrested." And that's how I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "I got pulled over and they were like, do you have a license and proof of insurance?" And he reached for it and he popped it open. A second he popped it open, the BB gun fell out on the floor. And he said, "I had enough time to look from it at the officer before I saw the officer come through the window and pull him out through the window." Fuck. Oh man. Now my buddy, the middle brother,
I think at that point
he is 6'3", every bit of 250 pounds.
Oh shit.
His older brother is shorter but wider.
Beat the ever-loving fuck out of him, didn't he?
Dude, they yanked him through the window and he's like, "I've never been pulled through anything." How do you put it? He's like, "I've never been moved by someone smaller than me unless I wanted them to in my life." He's like, "They put me on the ground. I was cuffed before I even knew what was going on." I was like,
peed a little.
I was like, "Oh man, please tell me you didn't fight him and all." He's like, "Of course not." He's like, "They put me in the back of the car, got all the way down to the station. They booked me and I was like, dude, I don't even know how that got there." He's like, "Because I thought it was a real gun. Evidently, his little brother sawed off the orange tip."
Well, and see, that's the thing. If you're a cop, why would you take him all the way down to the station once you got it out? Because the first thing you're gonna do is secure it and look it over. It's easy to. Number one, it's these days. I remember my first BB gun. It said Daisy on it, and you could tell that it was a BB gun. But they actually make some.
Slingshot.
They actually make some nowadays that have Beretta on the side.
Yeah.
That look like a legitimate weapon. And it's like, but once you get it out of there and you feel the weight of it and you figure out what's going on.
Have you seen some of the high-tech airsoft guns nowadays?
Oh, yeah. I've got one. I've got an MP5 and a AR-15
Some of those are like 100% operational just for a BB instead. Like, they operate the same way.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of the... have you seen some of the YouTube videos of, like, the Norwegians that do competitive...
Like Novrich?
Huh?
Like Novrich?
I don't know what his name is, probably.
He's a sniper.
Yep, that's the guy.
Yep, I follow him. I follow him on YouTube, and I'm subscribed to his channel. My bad.
Yeah,
on YouTube, and I watch almost everything.
And those fucking guns are ridiculous, man.
Hell, the sniper rifle he uses was his own design.
No shit.
Yeah, he designed it. That's like the SSG 24, I want to say it's called, is the rifle. And the PC-1, I want to say, is the handgun.
Huh.
I want to say those are the names of them, but yeah, those are his design.
Wow.
Yeah. That's impressive, man. Imagine being so good at something that you could design your own thing and then not only make money off of YouTube, but also off the merchandise that you're promoting through your YouTube channel.
I can only imagine how much those airsoft guns cost, because that's got to have a lot of engineering in it, man.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
saying.
I mean, shit, the barrel itself, I want to say was fluted. Yeah. Imagine fluting an airsoft rifle. Yeah. Like, seriously, when he shoots that thing, like, you think, oh, it's an airsoft rifle. It's not going to make any noise anyways. No, you don't hear anything other than that click.
Right.
Like, during gameplay, I've actually seen videos of other people that uploaded playing against him.
Right. Like,
And
where the
all
fuck did
you
that come
hear,
from?
all you hear in the woods is just, and then it's like,
Fuck.
God damn it. Nah, Vretch.
Oh, shit. Well, it's time to finish this bad boy up.
Yeah. That was
The
my wife.
Wi-Fi?
That was the Wi-Fi.
Well, guys, thank you for coming back again. We have some more stories that we were going to talk about, but we kind of filled it up with other things, so it's fine. It's all right. Well, we thank you guys for joining us again. Again, if you guys want to get t-shirts, get a hold of us on our email or Facebook or Twitter, and $13, I'll ship one to you. Also, we have friends at medicelement.com that use the discount code MEDIC18 and get buy one, get one free on stickers and the Black Rifle coffee. Go to them. They love you. Use the code 107 off duty and you get 15% off. Again, just look us up, 10-7 off duty on Facebook and Twitter. Also, our email is 107offduty@gmail.com. Also, we haven't gotten any questions from anybody in a while, so do that, please.
It helps.
Yes, we miss you people. We want to hear from you. We also want to hear, honestly, I really want to hear if you guys like what we're doing these days, or, anything else you'd like to hear about. So just let us know. Get a hold of us.
Let us know if we need to change anything up.
Yes, hugs and kisses, XOXO.
Bye.